my power.
Guys, Filk, I'm going to start with number 5, best team in the Central Division, and they are living up to the hype, the Dallas Stars. I look at the Stars, they're defending well, they're scoring goals. Matt Duchene had a goal last night, and you know what? Their losses aren't cheapies. They don't take nights off. And the team that started out really hot, if we did this 2 weeks ago, they would have been unbeaten, and we all would have went. They're definitely number 1, but I got them at number 4 now, the Las Vegas Golden Knights. I think the Golden Knights, Cassidy's got them firing on all cylinders. Jack Eichel is playing at an MVP level, and I want to see if they are still hungry to win a Stanley Cup. After all, their first Stanley Cup, you know they were hungry for it. Let's see if they want to keep that. Number 3, I'm going to shock a lot of people here. I got the New York Rangers at number 3. And a lot of people might see that. There's that eyebrow. I knew Filk was going to raise that eyebrow on me. But I got the New York Rangers at number 3. I'm going to explain why. They have played so exceedingly well, and it's all their backups that are they're unsung heroes. They're second string guys, if you will, like Quick and Domingue. But right now, Peter Laviolette has got this team playing so well that I haven't screwed up mispronouncing his name once. So you got to love what you're seeing out of them. And once they're back, if they keep the same system they got going, look out. This team is going to be pretty dangerous. I love the Vancouver Canucks this year and what they're doing. Now, they do have the best goal differential in the NHL right now, but they did put up a 10 spot on the San Jose Sharks, which another team we're going to talk about later in Bar Talk also did. But I think right now Elias Pettersson is playing at an MVP level. Thatcher Demko is playing at a Vezina Trophy level, and Quinn Hughes is playing at a Norris Trophy level. Throw them all together, and right now Rick Tocchet's playing with the most talented team he's ever coached. And it's here's a team we were all thinking they might not make the playoffs because they had 2 big pieces drop. Phil, I'm giving credit to the Boston Bruins. I'm putting the Boston Bruins right now at number 1. Jeremy Swayman and Linus Ullmark are turning into pretty good seasons. They're not – well, I was going to say they're not scoring as much as they were, but did you see David Pasternak's one-timer last night against the Buffalo Sabres? It looked like the most casual hammer of a puck into the net ever. But, I mean, he was just like, yep, bing, in. So I gotta think that Boston right now, that's the team they got to beat. They were the number 1 team last year. Well, until it got to the playoffs, Florida Panthers are right there. And more about the Florida Panthers in 1 second. I think the Boston Bruins, I think right now they're going to beat you with defense, and that's how it's going to go. Filk, here are the rankings of all 3 of us. You have the Vancouver Canucks in there, and Anthony's got the Florida Panthers in and not the Dallas Stars. Filk, you and Anthony both have the New York Rangers at number 1. Go on.
Like I said, they're finding ways to win despite injuries, and they have points in their last 10 straight games. I don't know how any other team could be number 1 at this point. Like, I get you like Boston and you like what they're doing, but they've had a relatively easy schedule for the most part. And I'm going to harp on Vancouver for that same reason. So let's take a look at Vancouver and what Vancouver has done, because Vancouver has gotten away with some easy schedules. So they have 3 wins against Edmonton, and they've scored 18 goals in those 3 games. And they put up a 10 spot against San Jose, which I feel like almost every team should do, provided you have any bit of offense. But Vancouver, outside of, I would say, beating maybe – I look at their schedule, and I don't think they've beaten anybody that's legitimate outside of Dallas.
Well, the Panthers and
the Panthers are fighting for a wild card. But they weren't viewed as a legitimate team at the start of the season. People were wondering if they would make the playoffs. And the only team that Vancouver has beaten that's really any good is Dallas. They lost to Toronto. They lost convincingly to Toronto. They lost to the Rangers in overtime. They lost to Tampa Bay 4-3 in regulation. So, I mean, they even lost to Philly 2-0. And Philly's not even that good of a team. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Vancouver's a bad team, but I couldn't have Vancouver higher than the Rangers. And I also I get Dallas, having Dallas that far down low. Totally understand that one.
Mm-hmm.
The Bruins, their schedule has gotten harder, but they're still not playing tough teams on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So, and that's really, so they lose to Montreal in overtime. They beat Buffalo. Okay. They beat a struggling Islanders team. They beat Dallas, a good team, but they lose to Detroit. And that's a team that they all thought they should have beaten. They beat Toronto in a shootout. They beat Florida in overtime. They beat Detroit previously 4-1. They lost to Anaheim. Anaheim gave them their first loss. And then before that, I mean, they've played Chicago twice. They've played San Jose, Nashville. I mean, these are all teams that they should beat. And they should beat somebody like Florida. And the way the Islanders are playing right now, they should beat the Islanders. And they should beat Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I get it. You know, you those are teams that you should beat, and you should win the games against the teams that you should beat. But Boston's not dealing with a ton of adversity like the Rangers are and finding ways to win. They're just they're just beating the teams that they have to beat. And that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. But I just don't think they're the best team in the league because of that.
Yeah, I'm just going with the results right now. That's why Vancouver and Boston are right there. But let's focus on one of the teams that Anthony mentioned in the Florida Panthers. That in their last 7 games, 6-1, their goal differential is looking more and more impressive when you consider, Filk, they're doing this without Aaron Ekblad and Brendan Montour. Like,
it is impressive, but look at their last 5 wins and look at who they're against. Columbus, 5-4 overtime win. You let up 4 goals to Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Washington, 4-3 overtime win. Carolina, 5-2 win. That's an impressive win. Give them that. 4-3 win versus Chicago. 4-3 win versus San Jose last night. You only beat San Jose by 1 goal. That's not that impressive to me. So
yeah, so you're kind of looking at the strength of schedule with those.
I'm looking at strength of schedule. I'm looking at everything when it comes to these teams, not just points. I think that's what really the point is of power rankings. It's not supposed to be, oh, well, this team is here in standings. You can just list the standings at that point for all you want.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going with the goal differential is one of my big things. So, but I again, I have to give the is the NHL like the NFL
in terms of any given Sunday? I mean, yeah. I mean, on some nights, yeah. Some nights it is. I mean, that's why the Florida Panthers upset the Boston Bruins in a 7-game series after the Boston Bruins won 65 games in the regular season. So
yeah. And Matthew Tkachuk said in an interview they had that swagger. They believed they were going to win that series the entire time. Even as he said, even when Marchand was on a breakaway, he thought they were still going to win that series. And that's incredible, Phil, because that's a lot of confidence. I wish.
We just lost Mark. I don't know what happened there. I guess he got booted in some sort of way. Looks like he's coming back.
Yeah, I ended up just accidentally hitting my laptop in the wrong way.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, when you're doing this.
I like this comment because this is true from Negtype.
Yeah.
So the Rangers have been sloppy for various periods of time during their games. The Minnesota game, they did not look good in the second period, but part of that is the ebbs and flows of a game.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You're not always going to have every period where you dominate, a full 60 minutes. Yeah, I didn't like the Rangers the way that they played, the last 50 minutes of the game against the first Minnesota game. And then, obviously the second period was not good for the Rangers, but they played 40 really good minutes of hockey in that game. You want to talk about the Detroit game? Okay. So they played, I would say, anywhere from about 40 to 45 minutes of good hockey in that game. And then the last, I would say, 15 to 20, you could say, were not great. But again, ebbs and flows of a game. Teams push back. They're not just going to sit there and lie down like San Jose did against Vancouver and give up 10 goals and get absolutely destroyed every night. But this is really the point. A win is a win, and they are finding them. The Rangers are finding them despite several key injuries. They resorted to a third-string goaltender who has played one game in the NHL this year. And he won it and had a .963 save percentage in that game. Like, what does that tell you about the way that this team is playing?
RL, please like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great hockey content and an entertaining interactive podcast. So check us out and our library of videos.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.